All right, I think we are live and we are going to be talking about taxes. Um, we'll give it a few minutes to see if some people hop on here, but I'm checking to make sure everything's streaming okay, and it is. Awesome. We
Cool.
are here. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know me, I am Brittany Brainstorm, and I own Brainstorm Boutique. I brainstorm creative strategies for small businesses with big dreams, and absolutely love everything I get to do. And then I have my sister Casey here. She's also my team member. She's a very talented designer, web designer, and she does this really cool thing where she does social media performance coaching, which is we all need that. I'm not a performer. And Casey hypes me up beforehand, and she's amazing. So if you're a small business and you need help going live on social media, you need to connect with her. But what we are all here for tonight is to be talking to the best tax expert, Kayla Bredar of Shawnee Financial Services. And on the bottom here, you'll see her email if you want to reach out to her for a free consultation. All of her contact info is down there. So first off, I'm going to let Kayla talk about herself, talk about her business. I know she has a really great family history with it as well. Oh, Jessica Carr just said, hey, ladies. Hey, Jessica.
Hi.
Hey. Thanks for tuning in. All right, go ahead, Kayla.
Yeah, so I am local to Southern Illinois. Brittany and I are almost neighbors, really close. So born and raised in the area. I am a third generation tax preparer. So my grandmother started doing taxes literally 50 years ago. And so this is her 50th tax season. I work with her every day. She is my partner and pretty solid resource bank too after 50 years of experience. So we are taking on a lot of different clients. A good majority of them are small business clients, but we also do a lot of clergy type returns. We also do personal returns, estates, trust. We do bookkeeping, payroll. We're kind of a one-stop shop because we like the small business. We understand that small business, sometimes you kind of got to wear a lot of different hats. There's a lot of different things that come through the door. So we try to just be a resource for that. We do have folks that we recommend out to others, even like insurance agents, people like Brittany that do branding, marketing, that kind of thing. So a lot of different stuff, but we do try and specialize too in taxes. It's kind of, it's our passion. We think of it as a big puzzle. The IRS comes without all of these different rules. It's our job to interpret them, but make them work for the taxpayer. So, let's find out. Let's make it work for your situation. There are some really great loopholes sometimes that the IRS makes for people, and they're there intentionally. So let's use them. Let's make it work. Use it as a tax advantage. And that's what we like to do.
Awesome, so cool. Kayla, that's great. So everybody is going to have to file taxes, whether it is someone says, hi, Kayla and Brittany. Hello, Rebecca. Thanks for joining us. So we are all going to be filing our taxes if you make an income, whether you have a business or not. So first, we want to focus on everybody paying their taxes, just regular tax situations that you know all about and I know nothing about. And then we'll talk about the small business aspect.
Sure. Two things in life are for certain, right? Death and taxes. Not my words, but the words of the forefathers. Like, they knew this a long time coming. So here we are, so many years later, and we're still doing the same thing. It is a fact. Majority of Americans do have a filing requirement. Always more than happy to discuss filing requirements, but in general, most people do have to pay taxes. The really big news is that tomorrow is the first day that anyone can file a tax return. So tax returns have been filed, but right now they're just sitting in an IRS queue. So tomorrow, IRS, actually at midnight tonight, they flip the switch and they start accepting returns, which means we start the countdown for the first refund check. And that's really the most important part about tax time is the refund checks. So we're definitely excited to actually see some returns start to go. We're looking forward to the early filers tend to be some bigger refunds. I'm just not going to lie. The people who have to owe, they tend to wait out filing taxes, but we're excited. The other really important thing too is that not everybody may have all their documents just yet. So anybody that has a 1099 investment account, any dividends, stocks, any type of account, something that comes from like a Edward Jones, a Country Financial, a Fidelity, E-Trader. Some of those statements may be available online, but a good portion of them aren't made available until February 16th this year. So just be careful. If you're an early filer, you like to go in and you get it done, great. More than willing to take all of your paperwork off your hands, but let's make sure we get it all. We don't want to have to go back and file an amended. Makes the return process a lot longer and a lot more painful than what it really needs to be.
That's really good information. I didn't even think about that because I'm sitting here thinking, I think we might have a couple more documents, Kayla. So, I sent all mine over to you, but now I might have jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah, I had no idea that there was a date when you were supposed to file. Honestly, I thought that anytime I got my W-2 that I was set to go. And I had it in my head that I was going to file last week.
Yep.
So I'm glad I didn't.
Yes, it is. It's really a common thing. A lot of people do. So there's deadlines. So this kind of bleeds into our small business chat. So small businesses and all businesses have certain documents that they're required to send out by the end of January. So January 31st is a big requirement for if you have to send out W-2s, if you owe someone else a 1099, that's for non-employee compensation, miscellaneous, those all have to be sent out by January 31st. So on the receiving end, you can imagine if they don't have to send them out until the 31st, you may not get them until the 15th, especially because, we had the whole postal slowage kind of business this year.
Yeah,
it may be a little delayed, so just make sure that you're keeping track of the documents that you're getting in the mail and you're not jumping the gun.
Wow,
that's really good information. So our girl Natalie Lou with Fringe and Free, one of my favorite businesses, she just said, I need all those loopholes, honey.
Me
yes,
and you too.
I love
we
that
all
she
do.
used
Actually,
loopholes too.
I'm going to give Natalie a shout out because she is the most phenomenal macrame artist. I have a cute little coaster set that she did on my desk. So I'm always repping Natalie. So I'm so happy to see that she joined us tonight. So knowing that Natalie needs all those loopholes, let's what do you want to start with, Kayla, when it comes to small business taxes?
I think let's just let's keep it simple. What is a small business? Do you have a small business and you don't even know that you have a small business? A lot of clients I've been talking to here recently don't even realize, they're coming to me and they're like, hey, I want to start this. And so I ask, okay, well, when did you make money? When did you start doing this? And they're like, well, actually this last year I've collected, $1,000 doing this. You already have a small business. You're already in business. You're already collecting money. And I guarantee you that if you collected money off something, you probably had a few expenses attached to that. So that right there constitutes a small business. And so don't let it be a daunting thing. A small business tax return can be filed with your personal return. Not all business returns are something separate. So even the most basic form of business is what they call a sole proprietor. So that's any business you're operating under. You can operate under your name, under your social, but sometimes you'll see a DBA in front of a business name. So doing business as business name. So that is a small business. That is a business tax return. It's like I said, a sole proprietor. We file a form Schedule C, but it's filed at the same exact time that you complete your personal tax return. So if you're used to, a lot of people also have a small business on the side. So they may work a job and get a W-2 that they're going to file. And then they may make some money on the side doing, just really whatever their gig is. I have some electricians that do jobs on the side. I have some other folks who take pictures on the side, who, just any little side hustle that you have that you make money. You are a small business owner. You have probably a filing requirement if you collected money, right?
Yeah.
So talk to someone. Like, I'd love to set up, a conversation with you, and let's work through how much money did you take in? What are your expenses that you can count against that money? Because the whole idea here is that you have money made and expenses, and you're going to net out something. You're either going to net a positive or you're going to net a negative amount. And both of those have tax consequences. Some of them it's to owe tax, but some of them it's to get you a bigger refund. And that's, like I said, the name of the game is get more money back at tax time. Who doesn't want that?
I want that.
I know, right? Me too.
So let me ask you this: is there like a minimum? Like, I know a lot of people, who are makers or artists, or they're doing service provider, stuff. Is there like a minimum of when they make a certain amount, they should start looking into keeping that bookkeeping information? Or is it just the moment you say you're doing something, you should start keeping that information?
It's really at the moment you didn't make your mind up that you're serious about something. So there is, in certain situations, there, depending on what type of business you have, you may have a year in preparation before you can actually sell your product. So like I talked to someone earlier in the year who they are buying, selling, and flipping antiques. So they're they're about to go into retirement. And they're like, you know what? I'm just looking, like, I'm making sure. I've just been filing a W-2 for so long. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do going into retirement. And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out a different way. You're going to be making some retirement income. Your kids are all grown, so you don't really have dependents. Oh, that's going to be a lot of tax. So let's come up with the solution to that. What are you doing? Tell me about some of your hobbies. And they're like, well, I have been buying and selling and repurposing antiques. I've really just done it as a hobby. And as the conversation went along, that hobby is actually a very viable business that in their retirement could make them a lot of money and help them when it came time to file their taxes. So we made up it is crazy. We made up a spreadsheet, and they're going to start keeping track of everything. But they had bought and sold inventory, and it, didn't even think about it. And it wasn't until we had a conversation that they realized, hey, she's onto something. So, it's so hard to tell people. They're like, well, give me a business. That's you. You dream up the business. You do you, man. What are your hobbies? And that's what I always tell people. Start with your hobbies. What do you like to do? Is it something that can make you money? Maybe. So, start there. Try and find something that makes sense for you. Like I said, buying and selling antiques. So, and there's a lot of people that do that. And that's not to say that every antique buyer and seller is going to have a small business. But, if that's something that you're doing weekly, might be worth looking into.
That's a really good point, because I think a lot of times we are doing things and we don't really know how to use that on a business side of things. Because generally, I mean, if you're doing something you're passionate about, then you would want it to be a business and a way to make some money.
That's right.
Taxes are wholesome.
They are.
Taxes can be fun.
They're
okay,
wholesome.
I have to have a full disclosure here, okay? When I started thinking about my business, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to do it. And so I remember I immediately went out and got my LLC, and I'm like on my computer, like setting up all this stuff, like not knowing at all what I'm doing at all. And then got in contact with you, Kayla. And I just remember I was like, I just want to talk to you. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just want to talk to you and just know what how can I set myself up for success in the long run financially. And I was Kayla, I was terrified. Everything seemed so daunting, and it seemed so intimidating for me to do anything business finance related. I really love personal finance, but I wanted to have a good solid foundation for my business. And I remember having that first conversation with you, it's during a pandemic and we did a Zoom and you like took all of my worries away. All of
Yeah.
it. Like I went from being like super stressed out, like taxes and all this stuff. And then I thought, how many years, I did photography on the side and
Sure.
things like that. Like I pay taxes and I'm proud to pay my taxes. I'm an American. This is my duty. But then I wonder how many things did I not maximize my tax deduction and credits for over the however many years.
It's true. It is so true. You mentioned like being scared, being fearful, not knowing what to do. I think that is the number one thing that a lot of times people who may file online or do it themselves, they live in a constant state of fear of, did I do that right? Is that the right move? And I totally get it. Like you can file for free online. Like not knocking the free filers. Like I understand your method, and some people that is a great thing. If they just have a W-2 and they're like, you know what, I'm not going to bother anybody with this. I can do this. You don't have any questions, great. But finding a tax preparer that you can trust and that you can go to, pick up the phone and say, listen, I have no idea what this means. I don't know what this is. There is a value in that. And I'm not just trying to sell myself here. Like it's a valuable thing because there are a lot of lessons to be learned. There are a lot of ways to maximize, like you said, maximize your deductions, maximize your expense, and also maximize your profit. That's what you're doing when you're maximizing deductions. You're making every single dollar that you made count. And that's so important. Like small business owners work hard for all of their dollars. Let's make sure they're keeping them in their pocket when they deserve to. So I think that's super important. And that's a relationship that you can have with a tax professional that's beneficial. That's their job, to maximize that for you. So let them do that. I highly encourage people who want to do a small business, find your tax professional that you can trust and you can call and ask those questions too. Don't ever let anyone make you feel dumb, because we have that saying here in our office, there's no dumb question, only the question that you don't ask. And it is so true when it comes to taxes. Ask those questions. We will get to the answer if we don't have an answer, but put that responsibility on us. Because like you said, if you're already doing a hobby and you're making money, like that's what I want every business to be focused on. You make money, I'll take care of the rest. Make some money. Like go out there, get those jobs and be passionate about what you're doing. I'll take care of the rest when it comes time for taxes. So yes, I agree with you. Don't be scared. Don't be fearful. Find you a tax pro that you trust.
Oh, Kayla, we got a comment here.
Yeah.
Melanie Bickett, who is my mom, said,
mine.
Kayla, and Casey's. We have this. Me and both of our moms.
She says, sisters, right?
We are sisters. She says, Kayla, your grandmother used to do my taxes. She was simply wonderful, and I can tell you have her lovely spirit as well. Oh my gosh,
that is a super sweet comment.
I didn't even know that when you and I were working together. That's so
I know.
crazy.
It's such a small world, and that I remember having that conversation with my grandmother, and that warmed her heart. Like she has worked so hard to grow her small business, and so the fact that it's lasting for generations excites her to no end. And that's such a wonderful comment. She is one of my heroes in life. So the fact, I'm getting teary-eyed. The fact that I can even be remotely the woman she is fantastic, and I appreciate that so much.
So how did you wind up getting like in the whole tax thing, like considering that you're third generation, right?
Yes, but funny you should ask. So I went to SAU as a student. I started out, actually my degree, I didn't start out, I started and finished in biology. And
that's great.
I know, right? I ended up going ahead and getting a master's degree because what happened was I was like, I want to be a doctor. Don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love everything about the medical profession, and like that is my hobby. Okay. But what I also realized was, being a third generation tax professional, I had a mom who, and I really think it's more of a small business owner, third generation small business owner. That's probably the kicker there. But I had mom and family time that was irreplaceable. And so being a woman who, you know what, I want my cake and I want to eat it too. I want to own my own business, but I also want to be a good mom. Like I'm very much the 21st century woman that thinks, yes, you can do both. But I also think it's because my grandmother was a bright, shining example, even when it wasn't the cool thing to be the woman business owner on the block. She's a mom. She raised 2 boys. And so that's really what led me to it was I love you, medical profession. I love the idea of being a doctor. I love what I would get to do every day. But what I don't love is that schedule and the fact that, you know, I really wanted to do OBGYN is what I wanted to do. Well, you can't exactly predict when babies come, but taxes are very predictable in the fact that they happen every year by April 15th. So I could make sure that I was the mama that I wanted to be. I was the boss lady that I wanted to be. And it was my cake and to eat it too. So I really, truly landed here by default, but I love a good challenge. I love something that changes from year to year, keeps me on my toes, and taxes do that. So it just fit. And like I said, I explored biology, love it. But that's a hobby. So
well, there's like a lot of math and numbers and like problem solving and critical thinking.
Oh yes. And it's the same thing. I'm using the same skills that I really love to use as like being that medical professional and, you know, being the decision maker and all of those things. That's what I really loved. I loved the pressure. I know that sounds really weird, but I worked well under pressure and deadlines and all of that. So that is really, truly why I love what I do.
Yeah.
And the fact that, hey, there's nothing, we joke, my husband also has experienced tax season, and there's nothing like a tax season rush for a tax professional. So, yeah.
I love
so much.
Natalie, I didn't know that. How awesome.
Natalie, I love that. That's amazing. Fan of Natalie's. We should bring Natalie on here too. She's actually going to be on my show in March, so you have to watch out for that. But I love that. It's so great how like you can be in like completely different phases of life and you'll find people that like overlap. So the fact that you and Natalie have the medical school thing in common is amazing. And she's an amazing mom.
That's right.
So actually that is such a great point about especially for women, you know, whenever there's a lot of pressure, you know, and like how you're going to live your life, how you're going to set your life up for family or your spouse, or if you're going to have kids, if you're not going to have kids, and all these things. And whether you're a woman or not, small business owners have in common that they want to have control over their schedule and things like that. And also be able to decide what they're doing to make money, not just what their employers telling them they have to do and their role is. Like they get to define their role in their own business. So
true. So true. And I think that is coming from someone who has drank the self-employment Kool-Aid, be prepared to work. You're going to work hard as a self-employed person. But in my opinion, the benefits so outweigh the sacrifices that you make being a small business owner. So I mean, like I said, I'm more than happy to have those conversations with anybody. Like, what does it take? What are we looking at? I just keep in mind that you can always keep it simple. Being a small business owner, like you just said, it can be as small as you want, or you can have dreams as big as you want. You know, you're going to set your threshold by how hard you're willing to work. And that is probably one of my top 5 reasons for doing what I do every day. I know that there is absolutely no limit to the money that I make or the time that I spend I set every single one of those thresholds myself. And that is truly, truly irreplaceable. But like I said, you don't make it complex. I know sometimes people get to talking about like, should I be an LLC? Should I not be an LLC? What is an LLC? Yes, there are tons of different types of businesses. The IRS taxes each of them differently, but just keep it simple. Let's talk about income, expenses, and we can make the rest work for you depending on your tax situation.
Yeah. So, bringing that up with whether, if I should be an LLC or all that, like I set mine up as an LLC, and then you advised me to file for a subchapter S, I think is what
Uh-huh.
we talked about.
Yeah.
And there were like benefits with that I didn't know anything about. And because it works for me and my goals and my vision for my business, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for another LLC.
Right. Right.
Or that someone who's a sole proprietor maybe doesn't even need to LLC. And then of course you have corporations and like all that
Sure.
other levels of stuff
Sure.
there. But having you to walk me through that and make, telling me my options so I can
Mhm.
decide what's the best decision for me was super helpful. I mean, I would never have known that on my own.
Well,
I would
good.
never have thought about it.
Good. I'm glad that I helped. I'm glad that, we were able to come to the decision that best fits you and your tax situation. That's one of the reasons that we do the free consultations, is because everybody is different. There's no way that we could ever do one of these videos and say, these are the steps to becoming a business. No, it
Mhm.
doesn't work that way. There are so many different steps, so many different paths that people can take. I often have the conversation, like you said, what is an LLC? Is it necessary for me? And that literally is such an individualized question. Sometimes I'm going to be like, yes, you need an LLC like yesterday. Let's get one started. And then other
Mhm.
times you're going to hear me say, no, I don't really think that that's necessary for you. I always want my clients to know that, like I said, I'm working for them. I don't work for the IRS. That's not my goal. My goal is to interpret IRS's rules and make them work for the client. So maybe you don't need an LLC. Don't let any bully push you around and tell you need an LLC. Gosh dang it. You may not. So,
That's
talk
right.
to a tax professional that you trust, and
Yes.
find one that's not just willing to sell you, because sometimes that's happened too. I have somebody that comes through the door and they're like, listen, this is what I have. I don't even know. And what I have found is that they went to a tax preparer where they were just a number. They never actually had a conversation with anybody. And so they don't know any of their paperwork. They don't understand any of their paperwork. And I can tell, like you said, Brittany, it's stressful. Some people are almost in tears when they walk through the door. And I hate that, because that's not okay in my world. And I want to empower you as a small business owner to know what's going on and to make the best decision for your case and your scenario. And that requires me to educate you. So let's have those conversations. I'm more than willing to do so. But you have to bring it to me. We have to go through it, and let's do it every time. Let's do it.
So what do you need? Like, if let's say, if I were Brittany,
Sure.
I don't want to own my own business. I don't like
it's not for everybody.
I love working for Brittany so much. But let's say that I do, just hypothetically, what would you want me to walk through the door with?
I just want I want to just sit down and I want to have just kind of like we're having now, just an organic conversation. You'll often hear me say, tell me about yourself. Like every single appointment, I want to know who I'm talking to. How did they arrive at this point? Are they someone who's fed up at their job? They don't want to work a W-2 job? Or is this someone who's like, I really don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm wandering around, but I'm already doing this hobby. So can I make it a business? And I see it all different across the board, but I really, truly, for a first conversation, it's just that. It's just a conversation. Let's get to know one another. And then
Cool.
I don't like, there's not a charge, because no, I haven't done any work for you. We're having a chat. And that's where I start. Let's chat. And because sometimes I'm not going to be the best fit for someone. Sometimes they're going to need to go to someone with a different skill set than what I have. And that's okay. Like nonprofits, they're really not my thing. They're very tricky to set up. And I had a lady that just was in the other day. I totally support her mission. She's making memorial gardens and stuff. But it should be a nonprofit. And I just told her, I said, I'm really not your lady. I'll support you. Let me help you. Let me help you find someone that I would trust too. I don't mind to help you get documents together to take to someone or whatever, but I'm just not your girl. So, but we wouldn't know that unless we had that conversation. So just a conversation, that's all. And I love to talk. I mean, I'm sure that's not obvious at this point, but I love to talk. I love people, and I like just getting to know people. And so I think that's where it starts for me, is let's just have a chat.
So let me also add, like, you can work with people all across the country, right?
It is fact.
I have had some people that I was like, that were asking me questions, that, I do more the marketing and that sort of strategic planning. But then I have enough understanding from me working with you that then I'm able to give them like a little bit of like suggestions and the nudge in the right direction. But then I always am going, you need to talk to Kayla. Okay. She's just gonna make more sense. She knows her stuff. That's not my wheelhouse, and I don't want it to be my wheelhouse. So are you doing like Zoom meetings with people or?
Yes. So anything. And Brittany, God rest your soul. You have sent me so many clients here, and I so appreciate it. And I just want everybody to know that. God, I appreciate it so much. And yes, the short story is I was actually just having a conversation with my brother, and I'm like, listen, I've probably talked to 30 people that I've never talked to before since the beginning of the year, and literally can count on one hand how many of them are in a 50-mile radius of me.
Wow.
But it's unreal. Like, thank you, Rona. We are all communicating better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew it had to get to this, right? But that's a fact. Like, I've talked to people on the East Coast and Virginia, Carolinas, but then I also have had people over in, I think today we ended up not being able to meet, but I think one of the clients was from Montana. I think.
Oh, wow.
I just know she was on a different time zone, right? But I'm 99% sure she said Montana. So, I mean, literally anything in between. I had a client that was new last year that lives in Alaska half the year. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is crazy. And here's what I tell people. Federal rules, they're all pretty much the same for everybody. State rules, you know what? It's so hard for me to be a pro at all 50 states. I'm not a pro at all 50 states. But what I do know is I know how to find the answers or work with you and point you in the right direction to find the state answers. So if it comes time for sales tax or whatever it may be that you need, we'll work through it together. Don't be intimidated by it. You can do it. I support you. I will help you. But it may take us a little bit more time. Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Indiana, those are the states that are closest to us. So those are the states by default. I know better, but I'm not scared to dig into the state of Georgia, Florida, or any of the others. So,
yeah. So I was watching Natalie, her live that she had with two of her small business maker creator friends, and they were like talking about you, and I like hopped in. I was like, wait a minute, you're talking about my Kayla, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, you're all over the place. It made me so happy.
It is crazy. And that brings up that I had another lady that I talked to on I don't know, I think we met on Monday. All the days go together in tax season, ladies. But I think it was Monday, and she was from Florida. And I said, so, like, obviously I'm not next door. How did you hear about me? She's like, you know what? I posted in one of my photography, like, forums, chat groups on Facebook, and you were recommended by multiple people. And I'm like, okay. So how awesome is that? Obviously. Side note, I know Brittany is in probably some of those groups, but still, to be multiple people.
Viral.
I know.
I'm making Kayla go viral. Yeah, she's gonna be like
funny that
the number
was.
one.
I'm so not technologically savvy, so that's funny for me to be viral.
First of all, let me say not true, because you got me set up with my QuickBooks. And I got to do like a shout out about the whole QuickBooks situation. You would not have wanted to work with me a couple of years ago. Okay, flying by the seat of my pants, using TurboTax. Like, I don't know. I had no idea what I was doing, dear Lord. But I did I claimed everything I could, and I made sure I paid taxes and that I was as honest as I could be. But then I'm working with you now, and you're like, okay, I can set you up with QuickBooks, and then I call it like, she has access to all my dirty laundry. And I love that because I can be like, at any point, if I have a question about something, like how do I categorize that on my QuickBooks? Kayla is just like, I can email her, and I know when she has time, she can log into QuickBooks, she can look at my account, and she'll be like, okay, that needs to go here and there. And I'm going to say another thing that was like the most premium service in the world is whenever at the end of the year you called me and you were like, Brittany, I'm going to need you to spend some money.
Yes,
and
best conversation for a business owner, right?
I am such a tight one. That, like, Casey, I bet she knows exactly how this probably went down.
I remember where I was and what I was wearing when Brittany called me, and she was like, Kayla just called me and she told me I have to spend some money. I don't know what I should do.
I love it.
I was like, Brittany, you should listen to her.
So Kayla, she goes, is there something you really need? And like, there's a lot of things I need, a lot of technical things that I need. I'm a design and marketing business, and I'm using software, and I'm using computer equipment. And so, yes, there were things that I needed. And because of you, like, explaining to me, like, well, if you don't buy this for yourself, for your business as an investment, you're going to hand that money over anyway. So why not use it to reinvest back into your business to make it better for next year? And I was like mind blown.
It's
so
true.
I bought what I needed to buy.
Those are the most fun conversations to have too, as a tax lady. At the end of the year, here they are. They're coming in with all their stuff, and you get to tell them, go buy that new big piece of equipment. It's okay to spend those thousands of dollars because you're just going to pay it in tax. I love those conversations. That's making the dollars work, right, Brittany? We're making them stretch and making them work.
Make them work for you. You're earning it anyway. And actually, Alana Milby just commented. Alana is an amazing photographer. She did mine and Casey's branding shoot. I think she did yours too, right?
She did. Yours was way more creative. We tried to keep ours tame with the professionalism, but how about your guys's? And don't get me wrong, I loved mine, but I love all those colors in yours. What was the background for that, by the way? I meant to ask.
Brett Hunter at Scratch. Brett Hunter did this Serpent Room, and he's like an amazing artist. I don't know if you've ever. He's in Nashville now, but he's from Lincoln, Illinois, and then he was around in Carbondale for a while. I don't know if you've ever heard. He's in the band The Copyrights, which is like really popular punk band, and he's really cool. One of my friends.
Cool. Well, here's Atlanta making us all look good.
Yes. Well, she says here, Kayla is awesome. Within just a few minutes of meeting her, I felt like we were a longtime friends. That is true. It's true about you, Kayla, but it's actually like very true about Atlanta as well. She's a sweetheart. We're just gonna like talk all the great things about Atlanta, but that's the great thing too about my small business and your small business, Kayla, and then Casey, you know, what you do with me is that we just get to meet so many amazing other small business owners.
True.
And they're doing things, you know, like you can have a business similar from someone else's business, but be completely different because it's you who's doing it. And because it has your heart, it's going to be different from your competition.
That is so true. So true. I'm always amazed at people's creativity. Like, here I am. I feel like I do taxes, right? This is like the same, roughly. It's the same every single time I look. But then I see some of these small business owners coming in. And they're like, Kayla, I've had an idea. And I'm like, dude, what am I doing with my life? Like, why don't I have these ideas? But I think that is so... I think it's so unique. It's so special and makes what I get to do so much fun because, they take an idea, they find a spot, it's a sweet spot for them, and they make it work. And how cool that like I said, I'm just here making your dollar stretch, man. You go out there and you do you and kill it. And I love to see all those different businesses. Like, absolutely so much fun to see them all. And I'm sure you do too. Like, you're getting to brainstorm for all these, you know, like, how cool. It's
seriously like a dream come true. And then I will say because of you, Kayla, I was able to add Casey to my team.
There
And
you
before,
go.
I thought I wouldn't be able to hire anyone. That was just going to be all on me. And Casey's a phenomenal designer, and she got me organized too. Let me say that girl knows how to organize my project. She's like my project manager. I go to Casey. I'm like, hey, we have someone
Good.
interested, and she's like, okay, but you can't accept a new client until.
I love it. I love it.
So it's because of having my business finances figured out. I mean, I don't know everything, but now I'm not terrified at all. Because of that, I've been able to make these choices and decisions where, I'm hoping to expand my team by another, designer, hopefully by the end of the year. Oh, we got some more. We got Alana sent us some heart faces because we were talking great about her. We love you. And then Rhiannon's saying hi, ladies. Hey.
Hi, Rhiannon.
Hi.
We need to have a conversation with her. She's a small business owner too.
Yes.
She's amazing. But yeah, so because of having that guidance and having that confidence, I'm now able to make choices that I thought would be years before I can make them. And honestly, like that's why when I am talking to a client and they have these big ideas, like, but they know they have to get to a certain point financially, I always say you need to talk to Kayla, because until your business finances are solid ground, then that's when you're able to really level up. I don't want to be rambling here, but also I think like this pandemic has shown the importance of having that stuff figured out. We've lost small businesses along the way, very unfortunate situations, and that affects our communities when these businesses are no longer there. So what you do is so important, to where people know they're not going to crumble at the end of the year once tax time comes around, because they've been prepared the whole time.
Yeah, no, that is a very, very true thing. The whole pandemic has changed the way that small business operates. And seeing all the different stuff that's came through the door, we've really tried to help any small business that's came through our door. Like the government has done special stimulus packages just for small business owners. So I'm sure you've heard about PPP loans, EIDL advances, and this is stuff, guys, that's literally changing every single day, literally every single day. And so, but I mean, it is super daunting as a small business owner that already has stress and woes about, oh my gosh, how am I going to make ends meet? And now they have to take on this horrible application process. It's not good. And so, we definitely have provided services and support during the time of pandemic. And we've just tried to help our small businesses find a new way to operate. It's also forced a lot of them to step outside the comfort zone and do things that they maybe necessarily weren't going to try. And so we've been able to help support them in how they have to change. And that's also super important to have with a tax professional, someone who's willing to change with you and to walk you through and say, okay, we can make that change, and here's what we can anticipate to be a tax consequence because of this change. Some of them have been great. It's been things that we said, yeah, you really needed to do this before. Other things, it's been like, oh, we'll make that plunge with you, and we'll dive in. And either way, yes, small businesses have had to change, and PPP, EIDL, all of those stimulus packages, guys, there's another big set of changes just on the horizon. It's sitting in Congress right now. They're trying to get this bill passed. If this bill passes, it's like, I don't know, trillions worth of dollars of support, not only for the American people and individual citizens, but a good portion of that is going to business owners. So what do you qualify for? How do you apply for it? All of that stuff. I highly, highly encourage you to work with a tax professional and let them walk you through those processes. They should be more than willing sometimes I know like at our firm, we haven't necessarily charged for any of those type of services because we understand you're surviving. You're a small business owner. You work hard for your dollars, and given the current climate, there's no way that we were going to do that. That's part of our service package. So yeah, for sure. If you're going to be a small business owner in these times, you need someone that you can rely on to help you navigate any of those stimulus or any kind of change, but especially now in all the stimulus packages stuff.
That's good. That's a good point, because that's just a whole nother layer.
It is. Oh, Lordy. That stuff is going to haunt us for literally years. Like, I was just reading an article that it's really on the personal aspect of things, but EIC, child tax credit, almost every single return that I do has one of those two credits, if not both of those credits. Those credits are set to be increased with this next stimulus package, but it's coming out as like advances, and you have to justify it on the next year return. And guys, I really hate to break it to you. You're doing that return on TurboTax, I can almost guarantee you are not going to recapture those credits correctly, because here I am sitting with a whole book of knowledge and a tax program that I do know how to work very well, and I still don't know if I'm going to capture those credits correctly. Like, it's taking a lot of research, a lot of knowledge. I'll spend all summer long in tax school learning about all of those changes. So yeah, it's intense right now with all the stimulus stuff.
That's really good to know, because I think that that does impact most of us, you know, whether we got. So one more thing, and then I think we'll call it a night. But those of us anyone who did get a stimulus check, does that impact our taxes or the returns or anything like that?
Yes and no. So your tax professional should be asking you if you received the first and the second stimulus check and how much you received each time. That should be part of the information that you get together and you prepare before you take your documents in, drop them off, upload them, whatever you're doing. And the reason is because they have the recovery rebate credit. Recovery rebate credit just simply says, hey, we're going to give you, if you missed out on the credit, for various different reasons. So like myself, all of the credits were based off of 2019 tax return. So in 2019, I only had one dependent on my tax return. In 2020, I actually had a baby. So that's another dependent that was not accounted for during any of the stimulus payouts. And so what has happened is like when I go to file my own personal tax return, it justifies that. And what it is doing is it's making up the difference to me in my refund.
Oh, good.
So it's a huge benefit. I'm getting $500 for rent on the first stimulus, and I'm getting $600 on the second stimulus, which means $1,100 of my refund. Like, I automatically get $1,100 as a refund. If I get nothing else, $1,100. So it's a really, it's a big deal. It's a game changer. Sometimes, like, you know, if you have like a divorce situation or a situation where you claim a dependent one year, but you don't the next year, there's a chance for you to recapture credits. I know like a lot of college age students, maybe mom and dad was claiming you were only, I hate to break it to you, but you were only worth about $500 on mom and dad's tax return. Oh, then you could have made $1,200 off the stimulus, but there's still hope. You can file your own tax return this year and recapture that full $1,200, and it doesn't upset mom and dad's tax return at all. So stimulus is introduced like this whole new world of rules.
Yeah, girl, I don't know how you keep up with all this. I mean, I'm thankful that you do. I am so thankful.
Well, like I said, it's enjoyable to me. So
I will say, anytime like we had a meeting planned, I was so excited. And I think my husband thought something was wrong with me, because I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to Kayla tonight. We're going to go over our numbers. We're going to talk about taxes and all of that. And that was stuff that like I never thought I'd be so excited about before. And here I am, like, literally looking, like, counting down to my Kayla talk.
I love it. But it's
we got a couple.
they're easy. They can be simple. They can be straightforward. And you've learned that. They can be easy.
Yes, they are.
That's
Brittany
awesome.
Wynn is commenting here. She says, Kayla, I need on your calendar. Thank you, Brainstorm Boutique ladies, for doing this broadcast. You're the best. Well, thank you for tuning in, Brittany. We appreciate that. You do need on Kayla's calendar. Email her. Her email's on the ticker at the bottom. And then Melanie Bickett, my mom, commented again. So informative. Thank you. Casey, is there anything, as someone who doesn't own a business or
doesn't
want to, but like, do you have any questions for Kayla that just from someone kind of on the outside that you'd want to ask? Or
my skateboard question that I asked earlier.
I love it.
Really all that I had.
Do it. Okay, people need to hear that.
Like, hey.
Ask your question.
Ask your question again.
Okay. I feel like my skateboard should count as some sort of business expense. And I don't know why. It's baseless. But I don't have a car. So like this is literally like
okay, so okay, let's think about this in broad terms. First of all, I hope I'm not divulging stuff that you don't want everybody to know, but since you asked, I told you no specific questions unless you want all your laundry hung out.
Do it.
So if you are paid on, so the only way you can take that type of expense, first of all, is you need to be paid on a 1099. When you get a 1099, what they call NEC this year, that's a new form for 2020 taxes, non-employee compensation, that triggers a sole proprietor Schedule C portion of your tax return, which opens up the door for you to take expenses against your income. Okay. So, and the rule for all expenses for all time per the IRS is it an ordinary and necessary business expense? So we might have to do some digging up, and we might have to come up with some creative ways for your skateboard. But like I said before, can we wrap it? Can we make it an advertisement? Can we say, I'm using this in research and development to find out new and creative ways to broadcast my message of my clients? Can we, once again, you're going to need to have a little bit more detailed conversation. Tell me how you're using the skateboard. I don't know that we can officially give you mileage on the skateboard, because I don't know how that's going to work. So we might have to get extra creative on the skateboard. But I'm not going to tell you no until we make a list of all the ways the skateboard is being used and we answer the question, is it ordinary and necessary?
Love it.
All
okay,
right.
So Natalie had a comment here. She said, Kayla somehow brings joy into taxes. She's definitely operating in her giftings.
Oh, thank you, Miss Natalie.
I agree.
And as I told Miss Natalie before, I need all of you creative people, because the good Lord skipped me by on the creative genes. So I'll interpret the laws and I'll read the black and white. You all help me bring out the creative side, okay?
We need you. We need you. We need you, and all the things, like I said, went from being absolutely terrified, afraid I was going to make the worst decisions, and now, I'm like, I got this. I know how much money's in the bank. I know how much I can pay my sister. I know how much I can buy new equipment. I know how much I can spend on monthly software fees, throughout the year. Like, I have no fears of that anymore. And
that's awesome.
For me, knowing that alleviates the stress where I get to focus on my business and focus on my clients. And I want every other small business owner to have the exact same feeling when they do their business. And you're only going to feel that if you feel financially secure, especially during this pandemic. But this pandemic is not going to be around forever.
Right.
We're going to have so many more years ahead of us and decades ahead of us of hopefully the possibilities are endless. And if you get your finances figured out now, right now, during one of the worst times in our lifetimes, then you're going to be set. You're going to be fine.
Yep, so true.
So
all of that.
So Kayla, is there anything else you want to add or tell anybody before we go tonight?
No, I'd love to have a conversation with anybody who just we need to chat. Let's chat.
You need
Send
to
me an
chat.
email. It is tax season, so I do have an obligation to take care of all of my clients who we've already had a chat and I have work to do for them. But I do have spots still available to have a chat. You will never be turned away, and I will do my best to accommodate schedules. Hello, Natalie, my 8 p.m. Monday night call. Whatever it takes to make it work. Like I said, I want to support your small business. I want to see it successful. So whatever my part is in that, and if that's 8 p.m. on a Saturday, we'll make it work. Don't hesitate to reach out and have a chat.
I love
Thank
that.
you so much.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to add real quick that if anyone needs a brainstorm intensive where we want to figure out some creative strategies to launch your business, you got a nice financial setting with your talks with Kayla, and then you can reach out to me and to Casey, and we can make sure your big dreams come true with the way you present yourself and the way that you show up for your customers and your clients, because that is what small business is all about.
You got it.
Thanks,
Have
everyone.
a good night, ladies.
It's nice
Have
meeting
a good
you.
night.
You too. See
Bye
you all
bye.
later.
Bye.